The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways.
How are you all feeling right now? Anything you want to say?
As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers.
He believes he's innocent. I believe he's innocent. And we're going to fight this case with all of our might until we don't have to fight anymore.
As Diddy's legal troubles continue to mount, his mother is coming to his defense in what she calls the public lynching of her son. Janice Combs released a statement on Sunday through her attorney saying, quote, she's devastated and profoundly saddened by the allegations, but believes that her son deserves a chance to prove his innocence. The statement reads in part, quote, it is heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies, to bear witness what seems like a public lynching of my son before he's had the opportunity to prove his innocence is a pain too unbearable to put into words. His mother's statement goes on to say, quote, this injustice has been unbearable for our family. The worst part of this ordeal is watching my beloved son be stripped of his dignity, not for what he did, but for what people chose to believe about him. So now let's talk about whether Diddy's mom could be a factor that affects the outcome of his trial. Let's bring in our power panel. It is Ladies Morning today. Talk about beauty and brains on the program. Here we have it. Still with us, former homicide prosecutor Melba Pearson, domestic violence expert, former law enforcement officer Claudia King, and entertainment commentator Holland Reed. Okay, let's begin just talking about mom. I think we all feel for his mom, right? Mom has nothing to do with any of these allegations, and reading these statements, you feel for her, don't you, right? And could she affect this case or what people think about the case? Holland Reed, I'd love to start with you, please, on the sentiment that the entertainment industry is feeling after hearing mom speaking out.
I'm a mother. I have a 23-year-old grown man at home, and I love him dearly, and I would protect him at all costs. Unfortunately, this statement reads like a book of excuses for her son. She should have, I think, left this to the defense. This is so much bigger than the instinctive, intuitive nature of protecting your child. It's so much bigger than that. And her statement, it seems to be cooperating with her son is a pathological liar and has been. Yes, we all make mistakes. Yes, we want to protect our children when they don't do the right thing or go down the wrong path. But I would also say, hey, mom, maybe watch the video, look at the allegations and really read them through. This is not just a mom trying to protect her son. She's trying to honestly paint a new narrative, which I don't think is going to help him in the end.
Holland, appreciate that. Claudia King, let me go to you next, please. What do you think about mom? Is mom at all valuable to investigators here as any kind of witness? Do you think there's any need to talk to her? Curious your thoughts on that.
I think they'll probably talk to her, but I honestly don't think there's going to be a lot of value in that for the reasons that Holland just pointed out. You know, she's very clearly on the side of her son, which we cannot blame her for that. She's a mom. She's going to protect her child, but she's clearly swayed in her beliefs towards him. So they might talk to her just to check it off, you know, the list, but I don't think it will provide any evidentiary value for them.
Claudia, appreciate that. Melba, legally, is there anything you can see as we look ahead to the trial that mom could perhaps become a part of here?
Well, certainly I expect that she will be present in trial each and every single day, sitting in the front row, likely with Diddy's kids and any other family members, just to, again, show that solidarity coming in and out of the courthouse. I could see her giving maybe interviews trying to sway public opinion. But at the end of the day, I concur with what my two co-guests have said. You know, at the end of the day, look at the Cassie video. And if you weren't ashamed of your son after he beat a skinny, defenseless woman within an inch of his life, then she's living in willful ignorance. and you know, she's not doing anything to help her son's case. Like Holland said, let the defense talk and stay out of it, because he's dead wrong and he's not getting out from under this.
That's a really great point, Mel, but the Cassie video, that was not addressed. You know, it was more about the public sentiment. She's convinced that people are convicting her son before even hearing the evidence in the case. I really appreciate that comment you just made about that video. There was nothing in regards to that from what we've seen. As for what's ahead for Diddy? Let's shift gears to that, because tomorrow he's going to be back in court, and there are new reports that there's a brand new judge who's going to be overseeing his case. So that could potentially mean another chance for a third request at bond. Remember, he's been before two different federal judges. Both of them denied him bond, both really on the same major grounds, that he could intimidate victims or witnesses, and they see him as a threat in that regard. So when he's due back in court tomorrow, let's talk a little bit about what we can expect. We don't have a trial date yet. What can we expect when he comes to court? Do you think we will see a request for a bond reduction or modification? Melba Pearson, let me go to you first on this, please. Legally, what do you think we're going to see?
Absolutely. I think the defense is going to try again to either reduce his bail or get some other conditions of release, maybe home confinement or something along those lines. I don't anticipate that it will be successful, again, based on the same arguments around intimidation, around safety to the community, around potentially being a flight risk but at the end of the day, he is well known and is very visible. So unless he gets plastic surgery, it's going to be kind of hard for him to disappear. But at the end of the day, the safety to the community as well as the intimidation aspect, I think, is going to reign supreme, and he's not going to be able to be released. I believe there's probably going to be some scheduling discussions in terms of, okay, depositions or any outstanding discovery matters, anything along those lines, and maybe just kind of setting forth when a potential trial date might be, when a reasonable time to set a trial date might be.
That's a really good point, Melba. Thank you for that. Holland, let me go to you, please, on outside of the courthouse tomorrow, because we know optics are everything, especially in a high-profile case like this. The last appearance, we saw his children. What do we expect in terms of media interest, support for him, or, support, for victims and people who might just be there because they want to see justice for everybody affected by these allegations?
I think it's going back to the same, statement about the mother. It's very quiet in Hollywood. It's very quiet in entertainment, the music industry across the board, because nobody wants to touch this. As far as those that have their own entities to protect. What you're going to see, though, is the continued interest in who else is going to be exposed. You have mom coming out, of course, protecting him and making a statement, but who else do you really have protecting him or standing up for him? Not many people. So I think what you're going to see is maybe his closest family trying to spin the narrative, but you're going to have the same kind of deafening silence that we've been seeing, because everyone is, again, like I said before, getting their ducks in a row. They're lawyering up because they're going to start exposing so much more that has been going on for decades. And I think that's what we're gearing up for, is a show much like in O.J. Simpson or the Menendez brothers. It's going to be the TV-worthy court TV that we expect to see with someone of his stature.
Well, and I think you're exactly right. Thank you for that. And speaking of the magnitude of this, perfect question to send to you, Claudia King. When we think about this not being over, we don't know what investigators are doing right now. Tell us, what do you think they're doing at this juncture?
They are talking to absolutely everybody that they can, because there are going to be additional arrests, I believe, and so they're looking at who else is involved and what evidence they have for that.
Really appreciate it. Great insight from you all. Claudia, I know you're able to stick around with us. I have to say goodbye, and a big thank you to Melba Pearson and Holland Reed. We'll see you ladies soon. Thank you so much.